Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by COACH Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. And today's Ramble is also sponsored by V&B Auto Centres at Handsworth. They're still offering that fantastic deal of 50% off your next MOT when you let them know you're a Rambler. Thank you again to Aaron and the team for their support also. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is hot off the presser. Chris Wilder has just finished his pre-match press conference, preparing for the Millwall game, and has he fired back at us, the fans? Good on him. Good on him. Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, we're going to get into it straight away, but I was sat here and I was laughing at certain points because he's blatantly calling us out, or a certain element of the fan base, it has to be said, because a lot of fans are obviously still with the players. But, well, we'll get into it because it's tackled head on straight away. So, is there anything? Adam Oxley starts us off from Radio Sheffield, asks some great questions. Good pal of mine, Adam, and I really rate him as a journalist as well. So he says, anything different you could have done against Oxford? And he said, we could have started better, could have moved the ball quicker, could have taken our chances, could have shown our quality. So took all that on the chin. It's not the level we expect. It's a host of things, to be honest. We need to take our medicine. The wheels haven't fallen off, though. 85 points, back to the 85. We go again. He just managed, that was the last time he managed to keep a lid on it. And he revealed, Wilder, I mean, I like to think he is the extreme version of what I like to portray on this channel. He always has, he's just, there's no script, is there? There's no script with him. Adam, fair play to him for even asking the question, because sometimes when you get Chris Wilder in the wrong mood, it can be quite intimidating, can't it? And he said, I'm just doing it looks like we're all right. I'm just double checking that you can hear me before we I crack on with this, because there's some really good stuff that he said. So let me know in the comments if you can hear me, but nobody's saying they can't, so I can only assume that you can. Right, so Adam Oxley's next question, Chef's kiss, was, have you seen any of the online frustrations in the fan base? He didn't even get to finish the question. And he said, it's an absolute disgrace. Calling out the fans. Rightly so, because there, and that's not me sort of turning on anybody. I am pleased that he has tackled this head on, because he's fully aware of it. He sees it and he's not happy about it. And it's fair, isn't it? And if you're one of the fans that have criticised the performance, this is aimed at you. And sound lad, right? Thank you. Thanks for letting me know those that can hear us. It won't be a problem. It's never a problem now. We're not at the caravan, is it? But when we're here, I just need to double check that. He says it's an absolute disgrace. He says, he says, I know I've had a meeting before I got together with you guys. I had a meeting with a media guy, and he told me to try and avoid this if I could, but I'm not, because it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the football club and to its players. It's a joke. Tell you what, if that's how you're going to treat us when we have one bad day, then don't come on the good days. Don't clap. Go home. Stay away. Our away support is outstanding, and we had the opportunity to break a record of about 350 years on Saturday, and we just didn't do enough. That's football. If it was happening every week, like last season, and players were chucking it in, then fair enough. Don't do it to them. Don't do it to me. There will be a reaction on Tuesday night. We have to overcome this now. Oxford away is a difficult game, by the way. We didn't find the quality on the night to beat them, and we have to own that. We'd all be rich if we knew everything that was going to happen. If we knew which teams were going to turn up and beat other teams, I'd still be sitting here. I don't know how many other people would be, but I'd still be sitting here and doing what I love. The players had to feel the pain, watching it back. The final 3 games away, hopefully we can replicate the form that's actually got us here. Got us to the point where we could break a 350-year-old record that we just fell short of. If we do that in the final 3 games, then we'll be in a good place. Adam, fair play for keeping your composure, pal. Said, and in response to that, how crucial is the home support going to be going into the final 3 games at home? He says, at its best, Bramall Lane, it gives us a huge advantage, a huge boost, energy. We've seen it in the games won. I can't force anyone to do anything, but I know what I'd be doing. I'm a backer of my team. I'm a backer of my club. They're sitting on 85 points at the top of the table, and I know whether I'd be cheering or I'd be doing something different. Another straight jab. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. If anybody questions what this man feels about the club, people can question his tactics. I understand that. I do and I don't, because we sat top of the league. But how can anybody question that this man isn't the man to galvanise us, to get the player? Not only is this a really brave move to go for the supporters at this stage of the season, because I think, by the way, he's smart enough to understand that the majority massively outweighs the negativity that's in the minority. So we in the majority, we're still very positive and trying. Yeah, we were disappointed the other night, but we are still trying to keep things on track and keep supporting the team. He understands that will outweigh the minority. The other key thing that it does, it gets the players on side. It gives them that mentality that this manager's going to back us. Because of what we've done this season, we can have one off day, and as long as we put it right, he will back us publicly. Because he goes on to say, it's not 3, 4, 5 games. It's a 1 game problem, and we'll get to that as well. You're going to need everyone to be together, though, aren't you? Says Adam. He says, of course we are. We have to play better. It wasn't. They talk too fast. And my writing is atrocious, so I can only apologise. It wasn't arrogant. It wasn't complacent. It just wasn't good enough. I always keep saying I love the golf, but Rory doesn't shoot a 66 every time, does he? He's still a good player. Nice. In the lead up, training was good, he says. You've got to give the opposition credit as well. They were fighting for their lives and they shut up shop and threw everything at it. We're not dead and buried by any means. We're raring to go on Tuesday night. But he says, I feel justified in highlighting it. It's an absolute joke, some of the negativity flying around about this club from the support. And he's talking about the minority of vocal fans. And it's always the vocal minority that get noticed. And I think some people want that. Some people want to be noticed and they just say outlandish things to get noticed. We have a couple of regular commenters on here that we joke about only turn up when things start to go a little bit pear-shaped. If we are promoted and we lose a lot of games next season, you can guarantee David Webster and Chirac will be in our comments saying, and I don't mind calling him out, a bit Wilderish idiots, but if only. They'll be in our comments, Wilder out, he's not good enough, all this sort of thing. Because some people thrive off the negativity. So anyway, on to Millwall. Yeah, they've got a good manager, a canny operator. I know Alex Neil well, very good at the level, been promoted out of this league before. We need to get off to a better start than we did against Oxford and overcome some stubborn opponents. I'm not sure of their approach, actually, because they've still got a chance of sneaking into the playoffs, so they may come at us. There's also a chance that they'll sit in and try and hit us on the counter. But we'll need to be ready for whatever they bring us, and we will be. We'll react like we have reacted to every disappointment this season so far. Love the man. Absolutely love the man. And that'll include being prepared for Jake Cooper, won't it? Says Ox, the man that haunts Sheffield United. He says, yeah, just a bit. He said it had a similar feeling to that that moment previously against Millwall on Saturday against Oxford, it felt similar to that when they missed a penalty. John Egan got sent off. We all remember that game, don't we? Or most of us will. That's Championship football, he says. We saw that. We didn't see that game out, but we saw the season out okay, didn't we? And we need to do that again now. Jake Cooper's a threat in both boxes. We're going to have to find a way to deal with their set pieces. We were poor as well in our own set pieces on Saturday. You know, you can work on corners and set piece delivery all week, but if the delivery is then not right, you can't do much about it. Any injury problems, says Adam? No, I've got some difficult decisions to make now. People with a crystal, this is what made me laugh out loud. People with a crystal ball will say, I should have maybe changed the team selection after a brilliant performance against Coventry. That is the one thing we were saying on here repeatedly. Completely agree with him. You cannot be so revisionist to say, oh, I should have changed the team. Nobody would have changed the team. And if you would have changed the team, then you'd have been in the small minority with that, because we have played so well against Coventry. Every player deserved to retain the shirt. No matter what your feelings on the players individually, every player deserved to keep the shirt. And now he's said, I've got some tough decisions to make. Do we give them the opportunity to put it right because they've done so well this season? I also have to consider it's a 3-game week. We're not going to take a wrecking ball to it by any means. There'll be some changes that we'll make, and I've already discussed that yesterday, and we'll be discussing it again today. Whatever team we put out, whatever team we put out, we'll give them a really good game, something of that nature. Because I think I ran out of time and went straight on to the next question that I was behind on. No matter the performance against Oxford or whatever happened on Saturday, says Adam in his final question, says, you're still in a strong position, aren't you? The automatic places are still on. It's still in your hands. And he says, we're in a very good position. Could have been better. And obviously that's why there's been some disappointment. It's the reaction to disappointment that's always been good this season that we need to go again now. I have confidence and belief the team will go to the end, with or without the supporters. All 3 teams won't win 6 out of 6. And if they do, we know what will happen, don't we? Focus on what we can focus on. We still believe in what we can do. Danny Hall then takes over from the Sheffield start. Talked a little bit about the players taking ownership of the situation. How's that gone? He said, I thought about parking it. I thought about just boxing it off and moving on. Like, we've sort of come on here on the channel. We had I was talking to I saw my dad and out Sal yesterday. We went for breakfast with the governor, Andy the Blades, and Eki Sal's dad, my grandpa. And we all went for breakfast, and they were saying that as much as it's hard after a defeat, 90 after 90 is always, for me as well, quite a cathartic process, because we start off quite emotional about it. People get their thoughts and they vent their frustrations in the comments, or if you're a rambler, you come on and you talk about it. And then as the show goes on, you start to take on board other people's comments, other people's perspectives, and it gives you that sort of base to reflect properly and take the emotional side out of it. So it does act as a bit of a cathartic way of doing things. I don't know why I got onto that, but that's exactly how it was. It's the ownership, isn't it? And he said, I thought about parking it a little bit like that, I suppose. So now that we've done that 90 after 90 process as a fan base, as a channel, we parked it, didn't we? And we moved on to the Millwall warm-up. But obviously, in these press conferences, he's going to be asked. It's the first time he's been asked to reflect back after the day of. So he said, I thought about parking it. Or do we have a painful 45 minutes going through it with the players, sticking it on the big screen and talking them through it? He says, and I'm not doing that for a reaction, but then I gauge the opinions of some of the players and also some of the staff that have interacted with the players to find out how they felt about that session. And he says the reaction was, we needed that, because it could have gone the other way. It could have been quite sloughened and down, but no, it were a case of we weren't good enough. We needed that. I'm glad we've seen it, and we know what we need to do now. We're prepared. If they're prepared to enjoy the praise that they get on Friday, when we beat Coventry and all the positives that come with that, they also have to be prepared to take on the chin some criticism and highlights of where they've not quite performed, but there's a level. He said, Danny, there's a level. And I'm happy to call that out. He says, I know Scott Parker and Daniel Farker will have seen similar criticisms at times this season of their players, and they won't like it either. But I'm not going to sit here and say nothing about it. We don't have to accept it. All these chants like, we've scored a goal, how crap must you be, we're winning away and all this. Back the players. Back the players. I don't like any of that. I back my players. Chris Wilder. Danny says it's got to be a consistent message, hasn't it? In terms of, you know, don't change too much because it's gone so well already this season. We're not bad, says Wilder. 85 points after 40 games, 2.2 on average. Still stick to the plan. It's the highs and lows of football. The players look after each other also, which is really important. You need a reaction now, don't you, says Danny? Or do you think you'll get a positive reaction out of the players? He says, I will put my money on the players to produce a positive front foot performance. The good players. The good players. You go on the past history of how we've reacted, both at this club and at the previous clubs as well, because that's why we brought them in. The quality they've shown this season. Current form, we're still well up there. We're 25 points ahead of the playoff pack. You know, we could be in that mix, but the top three have been really good all season. We're way ahead of everybody else. 25 points clear of the playoffs, of the playoff race, and those trying to battle to get into it. We've been really good all season. We need to come charging back, but again, we're not going to take a wrecking ball to it. Danny then said, is this perhaps a test of character and why you brought those characters in and had that strong focus on character in your recruitment? He said, I understand the question, but this time it isn't, because it's not 3, 4 or 5 games where it's been coming. It's one game where we've dropped our standards. It's not an ongoing issue that's been coming. What's happened is they've all put in collectively a 5 out of 10 performance. I didn't see it coming. I've got over 1,000 games in management. If I did see it coming, I'd have made those changes. We just need to be better. And Danny finished on, and this was the final question of the press conference, the Coventry atmosphere at Bramall Lane, last time out at Bramall Lane, was superb, wasn't it? We need to get that. How important is it that we get that atmosphere back? He says, at its best, it was at its best, says Wilder, as long as I've known it. And I'm talking back to the 80s. I'm talking through our promotion seasons. He says what I felt on that was on a par with derby games. What I witnessed and what I watched and felt was on a par with the derby games, which always take care of themselves, the Steel City derby games, which always take care of themselves. Yes, the away end won't be filled tomorrow night, which often helps the atmosphere. People are at work. I understand that as well. He says Blackburn on the final game of the season takes care of itself. It's the last home game of the season. Good Friday will take care of itself when we play Cardiff. We need the players, the supporters. We need the supporters on Tuesday night. And let's hope they get behind us. And that was it. That was the press conference. Wow, wow, wow from Chris Wilder. I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I've touched on it briefly during. But whew, he's never afraid. And the respect that he'll get, certainly from me, but from all Blades, for that sort of honesty. That's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we're about as a club. No falsities, no niceties, no, come on, let's all stick together. No, we've had a bump in the road now, and it's not. It's how we react collectively, isn't it? It's how we react collectively, not just the players and the manager, obviously, are the most important thing. Those that can actively make a difference on the pitch with what they do. But we also have to look at ourselves as well as a fan base, don't we? And have some perspective, something that we've talked about so much this season. Perspective. It's fine to be disappointed. Absolutely fine to be disappointed. And it's right to be disappointed because it was a golden opportunity. Wilder was disappointed. The players were disappointed. But like he says, there's a line. And to when it gets to the point of, anyway, we'll get into your comments because I think it's obvious where I sit on it. And it has been since it's happened, to be fair. Ian says, the gatekeeper. Morning, Jimmy. He's done it again. Can't wait for tomorrow night now and expecting a big performance. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. He never, ever fails to get me up for a game. Never fails. And it's not happened often where we've had to bounce back from disappointment this season, which again is a testament to the job he's done, the players have done, the club as a whole. But we were low, weren't we, after Oxford? And he's done it again. He's got us chomping at the bit. I cannot wait. As somebody who will be sitting in the stadium as well, it makes me want to roar the team on. You know, even if I wasn't going to do that anyway, which I was. Got to be better and keep that Ivanovic away from our goal, says Robbie. Yeah, they pose threats. They pose threats, but we'll be well aware of it. We have definitely got to be better. That's fair to say, pal. Jack says, morning, Jimmy. Still frustrated about the weekend, but we move on tomorrow, hoping for a huge bounce back. Well said, Jack. Good morning, Jim Bob, says Gabe. Thank you for the content this morning. No problem, mate. Thank you for your support. Over in the States, I believe, Gabe. You are second ever Rambler. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Morning, Jimbo, says Tom, the Leeds fan. Morning, mate. Hope you're well. Thank you for letting me know you can hear us. I'll jump over the rest of them. Rich says loud and clear. Criticism of the performance on Saturday is valid, says Matthew. Completely agree. Completely agree. And I also agree with your second point, as does Chris Wilder. Acting like that means the season is over is frankly disgraceful. Disgraceful, Matthew. Love it. Fran says, you've got to love the man. You stick a love in there, don't you? You've got to love the man. For a fan base who like to consider themselves tough Yorkshiremen and women, they behave like babies. No, well, good man, Chris. He is, for context, Fran, and I'll help you out here because I think this is probably how you meant it. Some. I think a lot of, and even if you look, he won't mind me saying this. I love George Motson. Love George Motson. Big part of the channel nowadays. Thank you for your support. He's a platinum rambler, gives us loads of support, and I know he won't mind me using this. He went a bit wappy after Oxford. He was not happy. Not happy. Took some time to reflect, cool down, watch 90 after 90, and said it had helped him sort of gain some perspective again. It's all right to be incredibly frustrated in the moment. I just think you've got to be aware of how, when you project it, because George didn't say anything. He would just, well, he did in private circles, obviously. But he didn't come on and kick off. He didn't go online and kick off or anything like that. And apologies, George, if you weren't expecting me to say this, but he's calmed down now and he's had to think about it. And yeah, he's still disappointed, like we all are. But we go again, don't we? Because it's not season over. We're in a really strong point. And it's because the emotions are so heightened at this time of the season. And that's fair. That's fair enough. Not confident at all, says Happy Chappy. And I know your feelings on it, pal. And you've been consistent with it, to be fair to you. That performance was horrific. I don't think it was. I disagree with that point. If you watch the performance back, and there's a few, I haven't, but there's a few that, well, there's a fair few in our group that have watched it back and said, don't be afraid of watching it back because it's nowhere near as bad as has been perpetuated. I don't want to hear Wilder talking about the players need our backing. They've got to earn that backing with being on the front foot. I think there's responsibility on us as well. Why would we be negative towards the players for one bad performance this season? And it's fine for you to have a different opinion, pal. You know that. You know we're not. That's not me coming and slapping back at you. But from my perspective, that is the wrong approach completely. I think we've got to back the players. I think we've all been on the same page for 95% of the season. We were very disappointed after the Hull defeat. We are now very disappointed after the Oxford defeat. If we play our part in backing them against Millwall and we go and beat them 2-0 tomorrow night very comfortably like we did against Coventry, then we're all very upbeat again as a fan base and we're all closer to being one, aren't we? Will says, hoping for a massive win tomorrow. You and me both, pal. You and me both. Oh, you well, mate. The problem is we have certain... I'm going to mention this as well. Thank you again for donating your... I know you do a few bits on social media yourself, pal. I think it's predominantly TikTok, isn't it? But thank you so much for donating a mic to Jordan Motson, who put out on our group if anybody had any for sale, and Will's just sent him one. So incredible kindness. I love our community, and thank you so much for that. Luke says the problem is we have certain parts of the fan base that only turn up to moan and complain about the bad. Surely you see it on AGM. I do, pal. I do. And look, we are a platform where I want everybody to be comfortable saying what they feel. And that don't mean we always have to be hippy dippy and sunshine in the garden. Like, it may be a very different comment section and phone in next season if we're promoted. And it may be a different spin on it. I hope it isn't. But chances are we're not going to win as many games next season if we're promoted. Well, we're not, are we? We're not. Let's be right. Let's not beat around the bush. And that will bring with it certain elements of negativity. You may get some more negative comments. But again, it's in context. We're in a much higher, it's one level higher, but it's a much higher level, isn't it? A much higher level. So everything in context for me. People are allowed to be upset and disappointed. People are allowed to not rate Chris Wilder. People are allowed to boo the team if they really want to. And I want people to come on and be as honest as they can. This is a platform for everybody. But I agree, there are certain parts that only turn up to complain and only turn up when, and it's very, very few. But, you know, that's life, mate, isn't it, unfortunately. Grease Chip Butty says, morning, Jimmy. Where's the fan base? Have to trust the boys to do the business. I'm not happy about the score, but onwards and upwards, up the blades, up all the rambles. Like and subscribe. Well said, pal. Fran says it's a mindset thing. Where does your mind go first, the negative or the positive? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Mine, I always thought I was quite a negative, not a negative fan. I always thought I was a very nervous fan. And I still am a nervous fan. But when I'm reflecting on the games, and I think a lot of it is to do with being a part of this community, is the online community really is, I think it makes me positive because you see a lot of negativity. I try and look at the other side of it. So I never want to be seen as spinning something. I want to be seen as giving my genuine opinion. And I tend to think, Fran, I go to positivity rather than negativity. And don't get me wrong, there'll be times where I'm negative and I need picking up. And there have already been this season. But we'll see. Need to put a shift in tomorrow, says Sheffield is red. Yes, we do, pal. And I'm sure they will. Rai says, I don't think the performance was that bad. Certainly not like the home game against Hull. Their keeper pulled off some very good saves and their defence got some good blocks in. I agree. As a good keeper, Jamie Cummins. That result will push us on and keep the level up. I hope so, as will that press conference, hopefully. JC says, Jake Cooper in the chat, obviously disappointed, but they have a decent home record. Now they are 10-5-5. Yeah, well, that is decent, isn't it? And he's a good manager, Gary Rowett. I know they're on a bad run of form, but he's a decent manager. So no disgrace in losing to them. We should have beaten them. There's no excuse for not beating them. But everybody's got a, particularly if they're fighting for something at this stage of the season, everybody's got a puncher's chance, haven't they? And they took that one punch that they had. Luke says, I've had to book the day off work for tomorrow night. I can't wait. Yes, mate. Yes. Well, if you're coming through early, we'll be at Triple Point. We'll be at Selena in the preparation for everything. So, yeah, you're welcome to join us, pal, if you're going down. Come on, Blades, all together now. Up the Blades, up the Borough. Absolutely right. Up the Blades, up the Borough. Borough, 5th in the league, I think. I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure Borough are 5th. And they entertain Leeds in 3rd. I know we're miles clear the top 3. Leeds have been a lot better than Middlesbrough this season. There's no getting away from that. But Borough are hitting a bit of form and need the points to stay in the race and need the form at this stage of the season, don't they? Going into the final 6 games, there's a straight run into the playoffs now. So, Ian says, after the backing he's just given them, players will be running through brick walls. Absolutely right, Ian. Absolutely. What a man. What a man, what a view. But what a man Chris Wilder is. Love him. And again, I'm wide open, Anna, for people to come back at me with that, because there's some that aren't fans. And will be there might be some that are a little bit offended by the way he's spoken this morning. I love it. Up the Rams, up all the Ramble, says Rich. Up the Rams indeed. Come on, Derby. Can't see it, if I'm honest. Burnley look to be a runaway train at the minute. I don't mean they'll run away with the title, but it's going to be really tough for Derby, isn't it? I think Borough have a better chance of getting points, but we'll see. Kieran, one of our Ramble on the Roaders. How you doing, pal? One of our Platinum Ramblers. Morning, Jimmy. Praying for a strong bounce back tomorrow night. Need to get stuck in. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Morning to Big Mally, the Leeds fan. Morning, pal. Hope you're well. Loving Wilder's passion this morning and another great show, Jim. Thank you, mate. The running is going to be exciting. Travelling up for the Cardiff game. Cannot wait. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Backing our team all the way. Nice one, mate. Be great to see you before the Cardiff game. We will be about, obviously, as per. Joe says, need to back the boys on Tuesday. Expecting at least a couple of changes in the team. Up the Blades. Yes, me too, pal. Me too. I think there'll be 2 or 3 changes. For anybody that didn't Yeah, I ain't got the. I might have. Anyway, I'm not going to mess about with it because we're in caravan, aren't we? I don't want to. I don't want to jinx it. But we've got a new segment called the Nose Picks, and that's Dave the Nose picking his team to play instead of Born to Be Wilder. It's a much snappier segment, if you like. So yeah, one of them, really. One of them. Fran says, I agree, Jim. Players have earned the right to be backed after a stellar season that no one expected because of our context. Rebuild, points deduction, change of ownership. Absolutely right. Tom says, enjoy the journey. The destination is going to be horrible. Correct. And it may be a blessing for whichever one. If one of the three drops out, which is more likely to be Leeds or Sheffield United at this stage, it may well be a slight blessing. To look, we want to go up. We want to go up, but there will be silver linings if we fail this season, because as a fan base, we all know it's so much more enjoyable in the Championship. And yes, we'll be weaker. Both either side will be weaker because of it. But yeah, for what you wish for, I think, Tom, isn't it? DT says the reaction to Oxford was extremely disappointing from a lot of Blades fans. We cannot jump on the squad and the manager like that from a completely out of the ordinary result. All squads at the top have been beaten by teams at the bottom this year. Correct, mate. Correct. Morning, Jim, says Ev. Morning. Jack says, just want the season over. Shall we end it now then, Jack? If we can all agree that the season ends now, everybody stays where they are, I'm on it. I'm with you, pal. Let's do that. Let's do it. Cooler King says, I think some real diehard fans identify with the club so closely that they see criticism of the club as personal criticism. At the end of the day, though, everyone wants a positive outcome. Absolutely right. Completely agree, Cooler King. Hope Burnley lose, says Jack. Is the Burnley game tonight? No, I think it's Tuesday. Let me just double check while we're all on, because if it was tonight, then I'd be... I don't know if I get away with a watch along at Caravan, but... no, it'll be tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow with everybody else, I think. Yeah, it is. It's tomorrow night. We're all kicking off at the same time, I think. Oh, apart from Leeds kick off at 8. Well, other two kick off at 4:15 and Leeds kick off at 8. Joe says, do you think it's Burnley's to lose now? And don't see them doing that now, unfortunately, given how solid they are, but would love to be proven wrong. Up the Blades. It is there in the driving seat. The top of the league with 6 games to go. But also, whoever wins their last 6 games gets promoted, even Leeds. If Leeds win all 6 of their games, they are up and nothing anybody can do about it, because Burnley and Sheffield United are going to drop points when we play each other. So it's still in all three's hands. In terms of winning the title, yes, Burnley have the edge now. Morning, Jimmy and all Blades, says David. Good morning, pal, and thank you for your support last night. I got your super chat direct to the Ramble account. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciated. Chris has held up a mirror to the fan base. I believe we will all respond. Up the Blades. Yes, nice way of looking at it, that, Fran. He has. It's a gauntlet thrown down to us as well, isn't it? It sends such a strong message through several different ways, doesn't it? DT says, let's be honest, anyone who has been leading the pack in the first position have struggled leading. A few more twists and turns to come. I agree. I would prefer to be chasing than being chased. I didn't mind. We were saying this 3-4 games ago when Leeds had a little bit of a lead, certainly on Burnley in third. I didn't mind that spot for us. Obviously, I want to win the league in the end, but we still had someone to chase above us, didn't we? It wasn't just focusing on let's stay above Burnley. It was let's catch Leeds. And now we've got that with Burnley. So, yeah, interesting. Loving the content, Jimmy. Hope you have a great birthday this week. Thank you, mate. That's on Thursday, but I'll take that as an early one. Thank you. Keep up this content. It's great, and at times a massive help. Thank you. Thank you, mate. I don't feel confident against Borough, says Jack. Whoever loses are out of the race. I think, yeah, if one team loses and the other... Well, having said that, if Burnley lose now, they've still got the opportunity. They're still in the same boat they were before the weekend's games. Even if Burnley lose to Derby now, they've still got the chance if they beat Sheffield United at Turf Moor. Morning, Jim Bob, says Matt FSP. YouTube royalty. Thank you for joining us this morning, pal. Hope you're well. Big Coventry fan. If you're not already aware of Matt, where have you been? Getting close to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's a load of brilliant Championship content. Go over and check him out. Thank you for supporting us and the channel, mate. Appreciate it. He fancies a Blades 1-0. I will snap your hand off for that right now, pal. Snap your hand off. Ray says, yeah, reflecting on the game, Oxford defended well, blocked everything on the day, and chances go on. It's a different story. We go again. If the chances go in, yeah, sorry, Ray, we go again. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well said. Thank you, mate. And thank you to everybody for joining us this morning. I've got to the end of the comments. Less than 40 minutes this morning. Look at us. Absolute whirlwind. But yeah, brilliant message from Chris Wilder. Let's all take it on board. Whether he was aiming it at you specifically or not, if you go into the game, back him as loud and as proud as you can. But also have a second thought about posting in the moment of emotion. It's like texting an ex when you're drunk, isn't it? When you've sobered up, are you going to regret this? When you've posted that comment on the Ramble, are you going to regret saying Chris Wilder out? I haven't seen Naylor since. I got you, Naylor. I haven't seen you since saying Chris Wilder out. Unbelievable. Cooler King says it's these high stakes, high pressure games that we all watch football for. Absolutely. And if you can't enjoy these games, and it's very tough, it's very tense, but this is what we're here for, innit? Cooler King. The Villa have got Paris Saint-Germain in Paris this week. I'm absolutely bricking it, but wouldn't have it any other way. Well done, mate, and best of luck to you. I know a lot of Blades, or some Blades, as I say. I don't want to tarnish us all because you see the odd comments, don't you? Aren't the best fans of Aston Villa because ultimately I think it's a little bit of jealousy in terms of how close we were only a few years ago. And then there's the miscarriage of justice, which a lot saw, where you didn't get relegated due to the ghost goal and all that sort of thing. But you're a huge supporter of the channel, so I'm going to say very best of luck to you in Paris. It's great, isn't it? It's great that you get to enjoy those days with your club. DT says, they were defending the minute they scored, 10 men behind the ball. It was so crammed in that penalty box and we just had zero space. Absolutely right. They defended for their lives, didn't they? And the keeper also had a very good game as well. There's context to everything. Alan says, think if we can keep up with Burnley and get a win against Burnley, I think we win the league. Well, that's absolutely nailed on, isn't it, Alan? If we leapfrog them after beating them and we've kept up with them, I agree. Josh says, new subscriber after following a lot of your stuff with One Leeds. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. Enjoy me content with Connor, both on One Leeds and when he comes over here to do a few bits with us. I ain't told him yet, but I can't do battle lines this week. It's my birthday on Thursday, so that might get moved, or he might just get in with me, or he might just not want to talk if Leeds haven't done the business anyway. So we shall see. Phil says, one bad result, but what a great season. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Josh says, never been confident of us doing it all season. Got zero hope now. Mate, you can't say that. You can't say that. We're all in with a shout. All in with a shout. Do you think we get autos with 4 wins? I think we probably do, Luke, yeah. Because then you've got to be looking at Leeds getting 5 wins out of 6. And that's a tall, tall order. So, yes, what a good way to leave it. Thank you to everybody for your continued support of the channel. It's absolutely brilliant. If you're not already subscribed and you like what we do, then please do subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It does help a lot more than people tend to think. But for now, this will be the last one before Millwall. I'll be back with 90 after 90. It's going to be a late one. 11 o'clock from the studio. Shh. Don't tell the wife, because I'm driving back from Sheffield. I'm supposed to be coming direct back to Filey, but they'll all be asleep anyway by the time I get here. So I'm going to go to the studio, do 90 after 90, and then end up back at Caravan at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something daft like that. So come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blade! Ramble on!